In the dazzling world of fame, where cameras flash and fans scream her name, Bai Lu often appears as someone who has it all: beauty, confidence, talent, and charm. But behind the glamour, there lies a quieter side of her, one that few ever see. It is in the stillness of her private moments, far from the lights and the noise, that her truest self begins to unfold. And perhaps, the key to that hidden world lies in something as simple yet profound as her favorite book. It began one quiet evening during an interview where Bai Lu was asked a seemingly harmless question: "What is your favorite book?" The audience expected a light-hearted answer, something quick, maybe a trendy bestseller. But Bai Lu paused for a long moment, her gaze softening as if she had been transported back in time. Then she whispered the title of a book that no one expected, a book that carried emotions, lessons, and meanings that reflected her journey in ways words could hardly describe. That single answer sent fans spiraling into curiosity. Why that book? What did it mean to her? And as her team remained silent, the online world began piecing together fragments, old interviews, rare moments from behind the scenes, even glimpses of her personal notes caught by accident in vlogs. Slowly, the puzzle began to take shape. Bai Lu's favorite book wasn't just literature. It was a mirror. It told of resilience, solitude, and quiet courage. It spoke of a protagonist who learned that life was not about constant perfection, but about the gentle art of surviving the storm and still choosing to love afterward. Many began to see how closely that story echoed Bai Lu's own path, from her humble beginnings, filled with rejection and struggle, to her rise as one of the most beloved stars in Asia. In one interview clip that resurfaced, Bai Lu said softly, "When I read that book, I saw myself. Not the actress, but the girl who had dreams, the one who cried when no one was watching." Her words trembled with emotion, and for a moment, the usually composed actress seemed fragile, beautifully human. Behind the scenes, her co-stars often mentioned how Bai Lu carried that book with her during long shoots. During breaks, while others chatted or napped, she would sit quietly in a corner, flipping through its worn-out pages. The edges were folded, the ink fading, yet her expression each time she read it carried something profound, as though she was reminding herself of a truth she could never forget. Rumors spread that a few of her most iconic emotional scenes were inspired by passages from that very book. Directors even noticed how, before filming, Bai Lu would open it, read a single line, and then step into character with an intensity that left everyone speechless. It was as if the story lived within her, breathing life into her performances, blending her reality with fiction in a seamless dance of emotion. But the story takes an even deeper turn. During a press event, Dylan Wong, her co-star in multiple projects and a person who understood her like few others, was asked about her reading habits. He smiled faintly and said, "That book is special to her. I've seen her cry over it, laugh because of it, and even quote it when no one understood what she meant." It's not just her favorite book. It's her heart in written form. That statement changed everything. Fans started connecting her book to her life philosophy, her choices, and even her silence during controversies. In one moment of honesty during a live session, Bai Lu admitted, "The book taught me how to let go of what hurts and to protect what is worth keeping. I think that's how I learned to survive fame." Her words resonated with millions. People began reading the same book, hoping to see what she saw, to feel what she felt. And slowly, readers understood, it was not about fame, love, or success. It was about being brave enough to stay soft in a world that keeps hardening you. One fan described it perfectly online: "You don't just read Bai Lu's favorite book. You experience her through it." But there's another layer to the story, a secret that only a few knew. During one film shoot abroad, Bai Lu reportedly left a handwritten note inside her copy of the book. A production assistant who found it later revealed only one line: "Someday, I'll tell the world what this story really meant to me." That single sentence sparked endless speculation. Was the book tied to someone from her past? A lost friendship, a deep love, or perhaps a time before fame changed everything? No one knows for sure. Yet, the mystery only made her fans love her more. Because in that uncertainty, in that unspoken truth, Bai Lu became even more human, flawed, emotional, real. In one emotional behind-the-scenes video, Bai Lu could be seen sitting by the window after a long shoot. The world outside was silent. The camera zoomed in slowly, and there she was, her fingers tracing a line on the page of her book. She looked up, smiled faintly, and whispered something that wasn't caught on audio. But those who watched could feel the weight of it, as though she had just spoken to a part of herself she rarely shared. What makes this story so moving isn't just the idea of a favorite book, but what it represents. It's the reminder that even the brightest stars find refuge in simple things, a song, a letter, or in Bai Lu's case, a story that carried her through dark nights. The book is her anchor, her escape, and her truth. And perhaps, it's also her message to everyone who watches her from afar, that behind every smile is a chapter, behind every silence is a sentence, and behind every success is a story written in quiet strength. When fans look at Bai Lu now, they see more than a celebrity. They see a woman who carries her past with grace, who still finds meaning in the written word, and who believes that understanding oneself is a lifelong story. So, what does Bai Lu's favorite book reveal about her? It reveals everything: her fragility, her strength, her passion, and her quiet defiance against the chaos of fame. Because sometimes, the most powerful confessions aren't spoken aloud. They're hidden between the pages of a book, waiting for those who truly wish to understand. And for Bai Lu, her book isn't just a favorite, it's her soul in disguise. The world knows Bai Lu for her breathtaking performances, her graceful charm, and her unshakable strength on screen. But behind the spotlight, there lies a quiet soul that few have ever truly seen. And now, through the pages of her favorite book, we begin to understand the mystery that has always surrounded her. When the cameras are gone and the world finally turns silent, Bai Lu retreats to a familiar corner of her home, a small space near the window where soft light spills onto stacks of worn-out novels. Her fingers reach for one book in particular, its spine slightly cracked, its pages folded and ink-stained from years of quiet reflection. It's not just a story to her, it's a mirror, one that reflects her deepest fears and her most secret dreams. This book, a story about a woman who struggles between fame and freedom, speaks to Bai Lu in ways few could imagine. The heroine in the story spends her life searching for herself in a world that constantly defines her by what others see, not by who she truly is. And in that struggle, Bai Lu finds herself completely entangled. She once confessed quietly to a close friend, "Every line in this book feels like something I've lived before." Reading it became her escape, but also her confrontation. The book forced her to face her own silence, the moments she smiled in interviews while her heart was quietly breaking, the times she agreed to act strong when she was fighting unseen battles within. Every chapter reminded her of the woman she used to be, and the woman she was still becoming. One night, after a long day of filming, she opened the book again. The words blurred before her eyes as memories flooded her mind, of the first time she held a script that changed her life, of a love she once lost because of fame, of promises that were broken and whispers no one ever heard. She closed the book slowly and whispered to herself, "Maybe that's why I love it. It never judges me. It just understands." The next morning, she brought the same book to the set. She sat alone between scenes, reading in silence, her co-stars watching her with quiet curiosity. What was she searching for within those pages? Some said she was rehearsing emotions for a role, but those who knew her better understood that it wasn't acting, it was remembering. Because the book wasn't just fiction to Bai Lu. It was her secret world, a world where she didn't have to smile when she didn't want to, where her tears didn't have to be explained, and where her voice didn't have to be perfect. The more she read, the more it shaped her, not as an actress, but as a woman learning to live without fear of being misunderstood. And perhaps that's the greatest secret of all. Bai Lu's favorite book doesn't just reveal her taste in literature, it reveals her soul. It tells us that beneath the glamour, there's a dreamer who longs for truth, a lover who still believes in forever, and a fighter who finds strength in vulnerability. When asked once why she loved the book so much, she smiled softly and said, "Because it reminds me that even when the world sees me as someone else, I still know who I am." That one sentence tells us everything. The book isn't just her favorite because it's beautiful, but because it saved her in ways no one ever will fully understand. It became her silent companion, her quiet confession, her reminder that being lost sometimes means finding yourself again. So maybe, after all, the real mystery of Bai Lu isn't in her fame or her performances, it's in the way she reads. The way she holds a story as if it's a fragile piece of her heart. The way she sees herself not as a star, but as a human still learning, still feeling, still believing. And that's what her favorite book truly reveals, not the celebrity, not the actress, but the woman who has lived, loved, and learned that the most powerful stories are the ones that reflect who we really are. At the end of the day, when the cameras fade and the scripts are gone, she closes the book gently and looks out the window. The city hums quietly beneath her, unaware that somewhere above, a woman sits alone, smiling faintly, knowing that through the pages of a story, she has found her truth again. Because sometimes, it's not the spotlight that defines us. It's the story we choose to keep closest to our hearts.